we have learned several different factoring methods. The first one was greatest common factor. The second one was box method. We were factoring trinomials. The next method, actually we learned two with trinomials, didn't we? Where we had x squared plus bx plus c, and then sometimes we have ax squared plus bx plus c. Today is a totally different method, but if you can do greatest common factor, you can do grouping. You can do grouping. So into your factoring book, let's write all of the examples that we're going to go through today. So on your next line in your factoring book, I want you to write grouping. On your next tab in your factoring book, we're going to write grouping. G-R-O-U-P-I-N-G. This is the tab you're going to write on. Help you. Factor by grouping. Now in that factoring book, I want you to make some special notes. There's only a certain time when we can use grouping. And this only applies to grouping. And that is if we have 4 terms. So on your grouping tab in your book, you remember you can write all your notes in there on that grouping tab. I want you to write down that you need to have 4 terms. Write that you need 4 terms.
So to write that next to grouping, like in parentheses?
Yep. 4 terms. We're only going to use grouping if we have 4 terms. If we have 2 terms, can we use grouping?
No.
We have 3 terms, can we use grouping?
No.
We have 10 terms. What if we have 4 terms? Yes, it has to have exactly 4 terms. Any other combination of a polynomial will not factor by grouping. Here's our first example. I'll give you a second to copy this into your factoring book. And I would try to use a pencil or pen to write this out. Don't try to use your marker. It'll be too big. So we have 2xy plus 7x minus 2y minus 7. Now, what I would recommend to start this off is to count your terms. How many terms do we have? 4. We automatically know we're going to go to which direction. We're going to try grouping. Those minus signs seem to get in the way more often than not. So what I want you to do is go through on these minus signs and add the opposite. Add the opposite. Please do that on your paper because it will make a difference when you go to group your terms. Now I don't have any like terms that I can add, do I? I don't think I can simplify it. What we're trying to do is the opposite. We're trying to factor. Factor by grouping. Grouping, it sounds just like it says. Grouping. You're going to group the first 2 terms together. And we're going to group the last 2 terms together. So if you haven't already done that, please add those grouping symbols. Now at this point, we're just going to apply our greatest common factor rules that we have. Looking at your first group, what I've grouped here, what is the greatest common factor?
X.
1. Everybody agree that I can take out an x in both? Okay, so 1x or just x, so write that down. And then I'm going to put a set of parentheses. In that set of parentheses, I'm going to write what I have left when I factored out an x. Just like we did when we did greatest common factor. So 2xy divided by x is how much?
2y.
2y. Plus 7x divided by x is? 7. Plus, because there's a plus sign here between my parentheses. Now look at your second group. What can I take out of both of those terms in the second group? -1. Why -1, Evan? The first term is negative. If your first term in any of your expressions is negative, we would always factor out a negative number. So we do need to factor out a -1. That's all I believe we can factor out. So in parentheses, let's write what we have left when we factored out that -1. -2y divided by -1?
Or 2.
2y. y. Negative 7 divided by negative 1.
7.
7 plus 7. Please write this into your notes, guys. I want you to make sure you have a complete example. Write this down, what we've done. What do you notice now? What's the same? Parentheses. Do you think that's a coincidence? I think it'll always happen that way. I probably wouldn't have brought it up if it's probably not going to happen every time, right? It is going to happen that way. If, when you're doing grouping, if you grouped correctly, then what's in parentheses should be exactly the same. And it is, isn't it? So we need to, what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this. We're actually factoring out. We're actually going to factor out a 2y plus 7. So we're going to write this as 2y plus 7. Well, when I take out a 2y plus 7, what am I left with? Here, what am I left with?
X.
When I take out 2y plus 7 out of this term, what am I left with? Negative 1. Again, finish your example. Make sure you have a complete example in there. And my answer would be here.
So what'd you do with the x and the negative 1?
They're right here. And I put them in their own parentheses.
Oh, okay. But that only works if they're both of them are the same or something?
Right. These have to be exactly the same. They can't be like opposite signs or anything. They have to be exactly the same. And if they're not something, you just probably did something wrong. That or it's prime. Let's look at another example. Copy this into your factoring book, please. We have 4QR plus 8R plus 3Q plus 6. Count your terms. How many terms do we have? We have 4 terms. What do we automatically think? What method?
Grouping.
Grouping. So let's group. Let's group our first 2 terms and group our last 2 terms. We don't have any minus signs to worry about, so I don't need to add the opposite of anything. Went ahead and grouped. In your first group, what is the greatest common factor?
4.
4R. So write that down. 4R. In parentheses, write what you have left when you've factored out a 4R. 4QR divided by 4R is
Q.
Q. 1Q or just Q. 8R divided by 4R is 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Plus, because I have a plus between parentheses. What is the greatest common factor in the second group? 3. So in parentheses, let's write what we have left when we factor out a 3. 3Q divided by 3 is Q. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Do we have the same thing in parentheses? Yes, we have to have this on grouping. We have to have this right here. So we'll factor out a Q plus 2. When we take away the Q plus 2 from both terms, what do we have left? For our plus 2, that means a second parenthesis.
But then if we did that to the Q plus 2, wouldn't we have to square it?
No, we're factoring it out. We're taking it from each of these. If I was to distribute this back through, okay, I should get this right here. Okay? And by doing that, by taking it out from both of them, I'm saying that I could distribute this Q plus 2 times 4R and Q plus 2 times 3, which is essentially what we have right here. And it would give us our no problem. Distribute back through. Let's look at some more. How about this one? That should be a little r, not a capital R right here, sorry. Should be a little r in plus 5n minus r minus 5. How many terms do we have?
4.
4. What are we thinking? What method? We're thinking grouping. 4 terms, we automatically think grouping. Now, before you add in your parentheses, I want you to change. Change these minus signs to plus a negative. And now group. Group your first two terms and group your last two terms. In my first group, what is the greatest common factor? What is it? N. I can't take an R out. This is an N here. Here I have an N, here I have an N. So N is our greatest common factor. What do I have left when I factor out an N? R plus 5. Plus, because there's a plus sign here, what's my greatest common factor in the second group?
-1.
-1. What do I have left when I factored out a -1? Well, -r divided by -1 is positive r. -5 divided by -1 is positive 5. Do we have the same thing in parentheses? What does that tell me? Tells me we did what we were supposed to. So if r plus 5, when we take out r plus 5, what do we have left?
N minus 1.
N plus a -1 or n minus 1. Questions? I want you guys to try the next one. I want you to go ahead and try the next one. I'll go ahead and write your assignment on the board, but don't start your assignment until I've seen this problem that you've tried on your own. Here's this one. So we'll factor in negative 4. And then we'll take negative 4 and divide by, excuse me, instead of 1, that divided by that, it's going to be negative 4 divided by negative 4 gives you a positive 5. So go ahead and write your next step. And the only reason to do that under is because if this sign right here happened to be a minus, then it's not throw something off. If you think that relax it, that'll keep your name in the right terms. Oh, no, I forgot about that one. Hang on to it, we'll grade it tomorrow. On the worksheet that we did on Friday, just hang on to that, guys. I kind of forgot about it. We will grade that tomorrow.